again. We know this is what we're meant to do. So we wake up, put our feet on the floor, go and conquer the day like a warrior, like warriors. Tribe does. We got your back so you can relax and focus on all the important stuff, like getting your business done. This is our tribe. We look out for each other. That's right, that's right. This is our tribe. We help each other grow in business and life. That's right, that's right. No need to panic anymore. We got lots of support and an army of warriors by our side. We fight the good fight when we unite. We fight the good fight when we unite. 'Cause that's what a tribe does. We got your back so you can relax and focus on all the important stuff, like getting your business done. This is our tribe. We look out for each other. That's right, that's right. This is our tribe. We help each other grow in business and life. That's right, that's right. This
Good afternoon, everybody, or just us. I'm not sure. Who is it today? Joining us for the Coffee Shop Conversation Show, your weekly roundup of all things entrepreneurial and how one gets from A to B in the most efficient way possible. I'm joined, as always, by my co-host Sondra Ray. I am James Brown, your voiceover with soul from jamesbrownvoice.com. And this afternoon, we are diving into sales and lead generation. One of the most important things you can have in terms of your business, and how to get it, how to use it, and how to maximize it. So, what do you reckon about this week's topic, Sondra?
First off, hello, good afternoon, evening, morning, wherever you are in the world. I'm grateful to be back. We took a week last week because half of us were sick. So taking care of your mind, body, and soul is extremely important. So I'm grateful to be back and have everybody in the room. Lead gen and sales are the heart of your I'm still struggling. They are the heart of your business. If you do not have clients, you do not have a business. Plain and simple. So you got to get business. I will be fully transparent. This is my least favorite thing in business. I will run numbers. I will do whatever. I'd rather work with the clients than work on getting clients. Full transparency. So this is not my favorite topic, I will be honest. So I am grateful that we are talking about it, because that always means that I need to learn more. So welcome back, Peter. I'm so grateful that you are getting better and back with us. We have missed you. So what do you think about sales? And I know you're about relationship building, so I'd love to hear what your take is on sales and lead generation and that amazing topic.
Oh, awesome. It actually is really good to be back. Spent a lot of time under the covers. Being sick is not great. It's not a lot of fun. So yeah, I'm glad to be feeling good enough to actually be here, which is perfect. I'm not good enough to go for a bike ride yet, but we will get there. I think before I comment on the topic, I just want to welcome the Ignite students that are in the background on YouTube. If you're in the background on YouTube, drop a comment, say hi, greet each other, have a conversation in the background. I mean, what's going to happen during the course of the show, we'll chat about this topic, and then we will give you some instructions a little bit later in the show as to how you actually get your points. And if you're an Ignite student, you will know what I'm talking about. Nobody else will know. It's a mystery. Only the Ignite students will know. I think in regards to the topic, I mean, this is something that every small business battles with. And it's something that it's not something that you battle with once. It's something that you have to conquer consistently. It's not something that you go, oh, I've fixed that, I've done that, and it works. Because everything changes. And as things change, you need to change with it. So if you had something that used to work and does no longer work, you need to change. So that to me is keeping your fingers on the pulse of what's going on. And there's a few questions that you need to answer in order to keep your fingers on the pulse of what's going on in regards to sales and lead generation. And these are things that I've learned over a long period of time. So one of those things are, where do your potential customers hang out? Because it doesn't help that you have a process and you're looking in the wrong place. So number one, figure out your target audience. If you haven't been through that process, I know for the Ignite students, you guys are going to get into this a whole lot deeper. Somerville's going to whip you guys into shape. She's brilliant in that space. But figure out where your target audience hangs out. Figure out what process works for you. Figure out what platform you need to be functioning on. It doesn't help you creating content in the wrong space. Then you're wasting time and you're wasting money and you're wasting resources on a process that doesn't do what it needs to do for you. Comment number 2, please keep it human. Yes, Sondra.
Can we go backwards one step? What is
Sure.
what's lead generation? Let's go back, because that's a big word. And I know lots of conflicting opinions.
Okay. Well, I think lead generation for me is the process of being able to have a conversation with somebody that is actually a potential customer or client, depending on whether you sell a product or you have a service. And it's the ability to showcase what your space is capable of, or what your product does, or what your service achieves. But it's basically the process of being able to have a conversation with that particular person that is your potential client. So, a lot of people have automated their lead generation space, and they have automated messages that just go out in bulk, numbers and numbers. It all relies on the numbers. Send out as much information as possible. In some spaces that works, in other spaces it does not. So you need to figure out what works for you. What generally works for me is a combination of them both, where an automated message will go out as a conversation starter directed at my target audience on the correct platform. But then when that person responds to that message, it then has to be human interaction, where I am then communicating with that person and having an actual conversation. People very quickly figure out whether or not they're being spoken to by a robot. Very quickly. So, to automate the initiation of a conversation can be automated, but the very next response should not be automated. So that is what works for me. But I think people have a misunderstanding of lead generation. They think that they conquer the process once and that's it. It's consistent. What you should be doing is allocating a certain amount of time per week to put some effort into your lead generation and start those conversations. Because if you just think it's one and done, then what's going to happen is you're going to do your process, think that your lead generation process is out there, and your initial people will respond and the initial conversations will happen. But what happens when those customers have been serviced already and you've got no more new customers? So it needs to be a process that is consistent. Otherwise, it does not work.
I like that. And I also think that lead generation is the start of sales. It is not the end of sales. It's the start of sales. Like you said, you definitely need to target audience, know where your niche is, all those things. But lead generation is basically getting people to look at your products. It's the start of your sale. It is not it's not the sale. It's the start of the sale, in my opinion.
100%. Sorry, sorry, I just want to add to that. If you're doing lead generation where you're having conversations, don't think that if somebody's not interested in buying your product, that they're not worth having a relationship with. So your lead generation process should lead to a relationship regardless of whether they actually buy your product or not. Because if you're building relationship, when that person then comes across somebody that might need to buy your product, the very first person they're going to refer that person to is you, because you have taken the time to build that relationship. So relationship building in the lead generation space it's overlooked a lot, and people go, do you want to buy my product? No. Okay, waste of time, go away. Do you want to buy my product? No. Waste of time, go away. You're destroying your lead generation base. So when you're having a conversation with somebody, don't make it about just the sale. How are you doing? It's very simple. It's very, how's your day today? Did you experience the weather here? Oh my goodness me. Real conversation between real people. Build the relationship. And people will come back to you. And if they don't, then they will send people to you based on the relationship that you build. So very important.
Sorry, did you have a question at all? No, I thought you wanted to ask me something.
Oh, yeah. I would like to know your perspective because I think voiceover is definitely unique to what we do. I mean, it's a service, but like, how does lead gen work for you? Do you go looking or do people come to you, or is it a combination of all of the above?
I mean, people might come, but it's rare. Normally it's people that I've reached out to first of all. Most of my lead generation comes from LinkedIn, because it enables me to target industries that I know genuinely work with voiceovers. So then I can at least find people who are likely to want to work with, or hopefully want to work with me at some point. I then do a video message often to people. I try and connect with people, but I always try and I always try and, give some interaction on people's posts, make a comment, try and add something that's a bit more than just either a like or a well done kind of thing. Hopefully something that either sparks a little bit of conversation, rather than just doing like a generic click. That I've found has worked quite well in terms of getting people afterwards to connect with me. Then I would often follow up with like a video message, where I generally ask for a conversation. I don't ask for don't ask for voiceover work, but I do ask for a conversation. The thing is with me, of course, is that my work is based on people hearing me, and a lot of what I sell is variations of me, variations of my natural tone, variations of sometimes of my personality, and that is then if I'm speaking to people and they think I can imagine this guy potentially being the voice of some of my customers' brands or my brand, then that's a win for me. So very rarely do I jump on a call and someone says, "This is great. We have voiceover for you." But the outreach does leave an impression. I have had people come back months after I reached out to them, and approached me for work. They literally have come back and said, "I now have 3 voiceovers. Could you help us? Could you quote us?" Or just picked up the phone and asked me. It's a slow burn, and it's taken a lot of, pretty much daily marketing, but it is starting to happen. So that is very positive, at least from my perspective, and helps me with a little bit of targeted outreach. I then have those leads. I will then try and curate a little bit more specifically. So I will have what I would call like hot prospects, people who I think are very likely to want to buy from me in the near future. They will go into a different part of my CRM software. Then I will have the other people who I've contacted. I try and get emails at this point, try and get demos into people's hands. That gives me emails. That gives me a chance to follow up in a different way. And then I'll touch base I've been doing it every 3 months. I haven't been doing it more frequently than that. I know there's different schools of thought on this, but that's what I've been doing. Then it doesn't feel like you're pushing yourself down people's throat, I think. But it, again, has so far either produced nothing, but no one said bugger off. And some people have come back and said, this is good timing. We need voiceovers for a project coming up soon. So that's what I've done so far. I've been quite, I suppose it's a bit more surgical than chuck a lot of stuff at the wall, but I am reaching out to a lot of people because with voiceover, you kind of do need to target quite a few different areas and industries in order to be the person that they are that be the person they think of when they need VO.
I like that. I do think there's some uniqueness. I think that you can make generalizations for lead generation, but I think there is definitely some uniqueness to what your service or what your brand is and your product is. Like you said, your voice is your product. So videos and demos and things are super important for you, where maybe not so much for me. I mean, it is, but at the same time, I can do stats and testimonials and stuff like that versus like a video. So definitely can be different. Thank you. Mikey, can you turn your camera on? You're in the black there, dude.
Hi, yeah, I'm so sorry, guys. I actually was battling trying to get this camera to switch on, and it just refuses. Something is definitely not working right in the background. Yeah, I do apologize for that. Yeah, and also I've been out for a while. Had lots travel, and also I was ill. I think similar to Peter. Gosh, it was terrible, and still recovering from it, mind you. So I feel Peter's. I feel what he had. But just touching back, and I hope I'm not repeating this question in any way. When it comes to lead generation, though, there's that fine line between sort of becoming or being interpreted as overdoing it, or almost becoming like spam to your customers / clients, and then keeping it tactful or keeping it tasteful, where you catching up at the right times or not too frequent, respecting your customer clients' privacy, so to speak. And how do you know that? Like, how do you get to that, understand that fine balance? I think that's my question. I just throw this out because I remember some years ago, interestingly, Shani and I, we were engaged by a car salesman who had the perfect balance in engaging with us, so much so that we actually purchased 2 vehicles at the time from him because he was perfect in terms of being tactful. But how do you know where to draw the line? Is it only experience that tells you that? Is there a way you can figure this out? Yeah.
Can I step into this one? I love this one. When people overstep the mark in regards to their lead generation, they become annoying, very annoying. And then when people see the brand, the very thing that they associate the brand with is annoyed. And people are very quick to voice their opinions, very quick. So if you are starting up a business and you are in a professional space and you're thinking to yourself, I'm going to automate this, and you accidentally automated that it sends something out every 2 or 3 hours, sending a message out. You've made a mistake in your automation. And these things do happen. I've done it. Where you're trying to set up your automation, you're setting up the messages that need to go out, you press send, and this automated process takes over, but you don't realize that it's actually set to bombard people with this message. And that's exactly what it does, because you made a mistake in your automation. People are very quick to send an email going, leave me the hell alone. And then you realize, oh, we've made a mistake. Something's not right. Shut it down very quickly. Find the mistake, fix the mistake, send apology. I am so sorry. That was not the intention. However, there are spaces that is their intention. Their intention is to annoy you to the point of every time you see the brand, you think of this particular product, and they think that the more they bombard you, the more you're likely to actually buy. Or you might buy just to get rid of them or whatever it is. But people are very quick to let you know. So if your messaging is overbearing, or if you're, or if it's too, or if it's too frequent, and I think the best thing to actually do would be, and especially if you're in a networking space where you network with a lot of people, ask the people around you. Ask somebody if, can I add you to my process so that you can see what my process is, and then you'll get the messages as they go out. Can you tell me what you think? Can you tell me what you feel? So feedback in this space is probably the most important, because whatever that person is experiencing is going to be exactly what every single one of the people that you're messaging is experiencing. So I generally have the rule of I will message somebody once. If I get a response back, then I will have a conversation. If I do not get a response back, I generally will not message them again for another 3 months. Because in 3 months' time, their space may have changed, and 3 months is definitely not, it's long enough for you not to be considered you're pushing content down their throat. And I generally start off with an invitation to a conversation. And if I don't hear from them in 3 months, I will send them an invitation to meet. Hey, let's, or I'll send them an invitation to an event where they might not only meet me, but they might meet a whole bunch of other people. And that might be attractive to them. And then based on their experience at the event, they might reach out and go, hey, we actually do want to have a conversation with you. So you've got to design your process in such a way that you are not annoying people, because humans are strange creatures, and we live by association. We associate feelings with visuals or with sounds or with, so if you become annoying and your brand is right in their face, they're just going to associate brand, annoying. You want to stay away from that. It's a business killer. So make sure you've actually got somebody in your corner that you can go, hey, can you please go through my process and tell me how you feel? Was it too much? Did I overdo it? Sorry. Did I overdo it? Was it over the top? Was my message inappropriate? Was it subtle enough? Did I get the point across without being pushy? Because pushy is a no-no. Do not be pushy in your process at all. I come across a lot of pushy people, especially on LinkedIn. They reach out, they send messages. You need this now. No, I don't. I really don't. You need to have a conversation with me. No, I actually don't. What I need is not to be annoyed, is what I need. So you'll find that if you make somebody comfortable, you make them thought of, which is quite simple. Hey, I saw your profile. I see you do this. That's really interesting and cool. I do that. It would be really great to have a virtual coffee. So simple, not annoying. So Mikey, feedback, 100%.
Yeah. I like that, Peter. And that was a question that was on, I'm not going to try, students, I adore you, but I struggle with pronunciation names. So I'm going to just ask the question and forgive me, because I don't want to mispronounce names. But she had asked, how do you know which platform to use for lead generation? So I referred back to market research. We've done that. We've talked about that topic. I do highly encourage the students to look at the live tab and go back, because each week we build upon each week. So definitely look back at old episodes. I'm going to encourage that, because that's a good thing. The second part of that is to, like he said, review every 3 months, aka quarterly review. That's one of my topics. I have a workshop coming up on June 21st for that particular topic. I'm very passionate about that. So yes, reviewing your market, reviewing what platforms are doing well, reviewing what content is getting engagement, what content is getting people to click on your website, what is going to get you clicking. I've changed up my social media content because stuff wasn't working. So we went a different direction and we're definitely getting more engagement, but I'm not quite getting calls yet. So, it's a give and take. And if you don't review, then you don't know. So review. We're almost the end of second quarter. We're almost halfway through the year, y'all. That boggles my poor brain. But definitely reviewing that. Let me see. Thank you, students, for interacting. I love the conversation. What was the other one? Is lead generation, putting your product in the market and ensuring people get to know about it with the hope of remembering it when needed. Yes and no, because if you do it once, people aren't going to remember you. They're going to remember you if you're popping up in a non-pushy, non-spammy way and keep it in front of them. And you can do that gently without being a pain in the butt, or being pushy or being spammy about it. Usually if somebody asks me don't you want 100 leads? Don't you want to get on a call me? Like the third message, I'm like, delete block. Like, no, you never asked about me. You never asked what my goals are. I'm a goal accountability coach. If you don't ask me what your goals are, I'm pretty much going to tell you to go away. Because I'm like, that's what my business is. And if you don't even ask me what my goal is, don't go away. Just please go away. I will delete and block you very quickly. For sure. I know we covered lead generation really, really well, but we haven't talked about sales. So because it's supposed to be sales and lead generation today, and I know the topics kind of combine, but let's pivot. Let's talk about sales. How do you get to sales? Which starts with lead generation. That was step one. Well, step one was market research, know your audience. Yeah, yes, those steps. Then lead generation. Then how do you get to sales? Peter, you have your hand up, so guess what? You have to go. Even though I pivoted the topic completely.
No, I stepped into that one. What you can do, Sondra, if you put the student's name into the chat, I'll try and pronounce it. Students, what you need to understand is that this is an international show, so a lot of people in this space are from different places in the world. So when it comes to names from Africa, we are going to battle. But that's absolutely fine because I'm a local boy. We can get it right. We'll figure it out. So sales, if you do not have a lead generation process, there aren't going to be any sales. It's relatively simple. Sales, however, you could approach the topic as a one and done thought process. I make a sale, that's it. But then you're relying on how many people can I sell to once, one time only. So depending on your product, is your product something that somebody needs to buy once? If so, then try and function your space like an infomercial. Buy now for only $99.99. That might work for you. However, if you are a service or you are a product that needs to be consistently bought maybe every month, or maybe a service that's used every week then approaching the sales space with the mindset of an infomercial is probably the worst thing you can do, because somebody will buy it once and they will never buy it again. So we come straight back to the very beginning of how did you create your lead generation process? And that was building relationships and speaking to people, because you want somebody to, number one, you want them to like you. In order for them to like you, you can't be pushy and trying to shove a sale down their throats. Don't do that, because they will not come back. People don't like that. They want to feel like they are liked. They want to feel like they can trust you. How do you develop trust? You can't tell somebody, trust me. That does not work. Oh, trust me. Generally means the opposite of I'm telling you you have to trust me, because you really just can't. So you can't tell people to trust you, but you want them to trust you. And how do you do that? Build relationship, conversation. My process on LinkedIn that leads to sales would be my lead generation process is what gets the person in front of me to have the conversation. The sale starts from the moment we're having conversation. I don't need to, within the first 5 minutes, have told them what I'm selling them. Sometimes the topic never even comes up as to what I sell. Generally, I take the time to go, well, who are you and what is it that you do? Because the more they speak about themselves, the more I can understand what is it that I have that they need. If I'm not giving somebody something that they need, then what am I selling? It's rubbish. It's absolute rubbish. So listen, get into a meeting, listen. So nice to meet you. Oh, I see on your profile you do this. That's really interesting. You play golf. I've never played golf before. Or actually, I can't hit a ball if it's standing still. Have a conversation. Generate a little bit of a laugh. You know, if I play golf, you're going to have to roll the ball towards me because I'm a hockey player. You know, whatever it is that you want to say to generate conversation, have conversation. And sometimes when people are given the opportunity to talk about themselves, they take the opportunity, which gives you a huge opportunity. Gives you the opportunity to listen. That's why you have 2 ears, 1 mouth. Gives you the opportunity to listen. When you're listening to somebody, you will very, very quickly hear, how does your product help them? Once they've finished speaking, you can talk about what it is that you do. And you can go, actually, well, by the way, you know what? You're battling with that. I actually have this product. You might want to check it out. Did I push it down their throats? No. Did I push for the sale? No. Do they feel comfortable? Yes. Do they feel like they've had the opportunity to communicate? Yes. All very important. If I don't make that sale in that particular meeting, either that person was never meant to buy from me, or they may buy from me in the future. If they don't buy from me straight away, I might in a little while invite them to an event so that I'm still top of mind. So the sales process is not one meeting. It's not one meeting. It's a process of building a relationship to a point where somebody goes, oh, if you actually want to buy this service or product, that's the person you have to go to. But you have to build a relationship in order for that to happen. You can't just go, I'm the guy. Because there's a million other guys saying exactly the same thing. So how do we differentiate ourselves from others? How do we make ourselves different? Well, it's very simple. Don't do what everybody else does. It's really, really, really simple. If you want to be like everybody else, then expect the same sales that they get. Differentiate yourself. Don't be the guy that arrives and goes, you have to buy my product now, because if you don't buy my product, your life is going to be terrible. No, my product solves all problems, blah, 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 blah. Your product is not the be-all and end-all of the world, but you still want to sell it. So build a process that actually works. Speak to people. Treat them like humans. People are not cattle, and they're not numbers just to be sold to. And if you treat them that way, you'll only ever get to speak to them once, and they will never speak to you again. So getting them to speak to you again is part of the sales process. Building the relationship, part of the sales process. Building rapport and trust, part of the sales process. Getting them to like you is part of the sales process. Getting them to mention your name to other people, part of the sales process. If you can't do those things, hire a salesperson that can. Some of the best salespeople in the world, if you want to know why they're the best salespeople in the world, and they work for spaces and they get paid huge money to be the best salespeople, they are the best salespeople because they are connected. They're connected to a lot of people. So you can approach them with a product and go, I have a product. And a great salesperson will be like, well, I have a lot of people that would like to buy that. And they get paid big money to do that. So, and they don't do it by one and done. They do it by having relationships, building connections, knowing who needs what, which is all something that you can do in your sales process. So don't be like everybody else. You know, be yourself, have fun with it, keep it comfortable. And Nozipo. Oh, yes. Okay.
Okay, Nazipo, I want to say what she had to say. So, thank you for pronouncing that for me. Yes, I agree with everything you're saying. I'm also trying to multitask the screen at both screens. But she said, it is a she. Looks like a she. Okay. She said that, listen and find the gap first. And that she's learning that. And yes, exactly. Find the gap. I usually think I'm talking about one thing. I always do. I don't even do consults anymore. I do coffee chats. Because it's really about me learning what they need. And 90% of the time, if I don't have something for them, I know where to find what they need, usually, because I have built, like you said, relationships, networks, people. I refer people to Explore ProTech people, and gotten them jobs, not just referrals to be referrals. Gareth, I can pronounce his name all day, every day. Like he says, I'll say it a million times. The only way to be different is to use your story. True. Yes, true. There's truth to that. And then the other thing I will add is consistency and follow-up. Money is in the follow-up. If you just talk to somebody, you let it be, then they're not going to remember you because they might have talked to 10 people that day. I've had meetings where my Mondays start at 8 a.m. and end at 11 p.m. So if I met with you on a Monday, I probably will not remember our conversation on Tuesday. That's just full transparency. So you better send me an email and you better keep asking me, not in a pushy way. So I do like every couple of days, I'll be like, hey, did you get the email? Did you get a chance to review it? Life is busy. Life is crazy. I have 5 kids, 2 bonus kids, 3 grandbabies. I can talk to you an hour ago and forget. So consistency is in the follow-up. I always tell people, send me a message and then keep asking me if I read the message. If I give you that permission, you're not being pushy. I'm just being transparent with you, being like, hey, I'm not going to remember unless you keep going, hey, did you? And I'll say, no, I'll get to it. Or I'm like, oh, let me go do that right now. It'll take me 5 seconds. Thank you for that reminder, because that's me. I know me. So people are going to get, when people give you that permission, make sure you're following up. I had somebody the other day was like, can you come back in 2 weeks? Sure. Put myself a little reminder, come back in 2 weeks. Yeah. And that's usually how I get my sales, is just the follow-up and being genuine. I'm like, hey, I dropped the ball. Hey, are you still interested? Or, hey, I know your life got crazy. Do you still want to work together? And usually those are like, oh yeah, thanks for coming back. Or yeah, thanks for remembering that I said X, Y, and Z. That's why I take notes, and have them in my CRM, which is CRM stands for Customer Relationship Management. Forget we need to explain acronyms. For sure. All right, Miss Permelia, you've been super duper quiet. You run an institute, so I'm sure, of course, lead generation and sales are extremely important, but how does that work for an agency or institution or something on a bigger scale? I mean, you're talking about not just your business, but you're talking about a business that supports, I don't know how many people you have now, but multiple people that you're trying to support, not only your business, but their business, because you're an agency, you're an institute. So I'm sure that has a different perspective.
Well, I love it that you said at the very beginning that lead generation is not your gig, because it's not my gig either. But having, the discussion around not being salesy, because I'm not salesy. Obviously I need clients, so we need to have lead generation. And I do have some processes set up. I'm actually looking at doing another process that will find more people to come to the Institute. And I do have a weekly newsletter that goes out to, there is a request when you go onto the website. If you'd like to subscribe to the newsletter, you get the opportunity to do that. That goes into my CRM, and then the weekly newsletter goes out every Sunday. And then, my question is then, is once a week enough? Because I'm not getting any engagement from that newsletter. I'm not getting even any, it goes out as an email, but I'm not getting any response to the newsletter. So I just think it's important to look at your processes and see what's working and what's not working. And I am in the process of, as I said, working with a woman who really knows her lead generation, and that's not my forte. That I am not. I need somebody to help me do that. So, in view of the fact that it's an institute and 10 practitioners right now representing 7 countries, I'm doing lots of social media marketing every day. And is that enough? I have had probably more engagement in LinkedIn than anywhere else. Although I get lots of likes from, what I post on Facebook, but it's just a like. It's not it's not an engagement. And I totally agree with you, Peter, that it has to be a conversation and that you're not selling. And this is something to listen to learn, not to respond, that I've learned lately. And oftentimes that's what happens. People are listening just so that they can respond and tell how great they are. But if you're actually listening to the person, you're listening to learn about that person, learn about their company, learn about what they need, and you're not listening to respond. And I also love the whole concept, Peter, that you were saying about creating this relationship, because you need to create the relationship. And I do numerous Zoom meetings every week. And that is basically what I'm doing, is creating the relationship. And now, if it's for somebody that's a practitioner that I think would be interested in being on the platform, then I have an onboarding questionnaire that I ask them if they would like to see it. And then we can have another Zoom after that, after they complete it and I get it back. That also I need to massage that and look at that as well, because I'm not getting, sent out lots and not getting that many back to have that next Zoom meeting. So that's where I'm at with lead generation and sales. Could definitely have some more sales for sure.
I love that. I love that. Thank you, Permelia, for letting me put you on the spot. Go ahead. Oh, Permelia, say what your institute is. I mean, I know it's on your screen, but.
Oh, yes. Okay. So the Healing Institute is an online worldwide hub of holistic practitioners. And we are available for people who are looking for alternative ways to be well and stay well on their journey, on their health journey.
Awesome. Can I jump in for a second?
Oh, absolutely.
Permelia, much like you, every space goes through exactly the same thing. We are going through the same thing consistently, where we create something and it might not work, but then at the same time, it's too valuable to just stop.
Mm-hmm.
If you've built something out, it takes a lot of effort to build a newsletter, especially if it's going out weekly and then there's content. That's a lot of work. And we've also had very similar processes that we would function weekly, and the value of that is huge. So instead of cutting it out because it might not have been getting the engagement that was required, I moved it from weekly to monthly so that the process is still there and there's still the value of the newsletter, because newsletters are valuable. They really are. It might not create the engagement that you're needing. However, it might keep the people that you've got already engaged. That's I think that's very important. So much like your space, our space is much the same. We come across a process and then we push that process and then realize we're not quite getting what we need back from the process. Modify the process.
Exactly.
So it's all part of the learning journey of what works and what doesn't, and what works today might not work tomorrow. I mean, in my space, events, inviting entrepreneurs from around the world to an event is part of my process. So a lot of us are still figuring it out. But the person that said that they've got that figured out, well, no, they might have figured out today, but tomorrow is a different story.
Yeah.
Everything changes.
Exactly. And I do appreciate, I think I popped onto a referral circle a month or so ago, and Peter, you had some great suggestions for how to market the practitioners, and I'm actually developing a summit. So we're going to do a summit in a couple of months of all the practitioners. So that will be a big event. And I'll be sending information out to a lot of people everywhere. So you can attend.
I love that. I love that, Permelia. Thank you. Thank you so much. Mr. Brown, guess what? We're at the top. We're almost at the top of the hour.
Yeah.
You know, we're always like, oh, we don't have enough information, and like it goes flying by, and I'll be like, oh, wait a minute, time.
I think it's one of those topics that we know everybody needs. So there's always, even if we're not experts at it, people will have tried different things. And you know, there is a lot of trial and error in this, especially with advertising. I think you do the A and B testing, that you try a different subject line, you try a different bit of content, that you try a different approach with your emailing, and then hopefully you hit on one that works. Data is your friend in these kind of things, and if you can harvest some of that data and see what's getting you the best results or the best most positive responses, then you're on to a winner. But yeah, thank you very much, everybody, for your input today. That was very useful. And I have been James Brown of James Brown Voice, your voiceover with soul. And thank you for joining us once again.
Thank you, James. A couple of things. Oh, first off, my name is Sondra. I am the owner of Get It Done Coaching, and I help you reach your goals by creating bite-sized action plans and helping you figure out how to get it done, literally, from whatever resources you have to what do you need and how can we maximize your time and keep you in your zone of genius. I also do workshops. My next workshop is June 21st, the quarterly review workshop, where I teach you not only how to do review of your business, but also your life. I feel if your life is a hot mess, your business is going to be a hot mess too. So personally believe that, personally live in it. So definitely love that. We want to give a shout out to Suzanne, who does our cover photos. She does the show notes afterwards. She will put all our LinkedIn links in the show notes. So please book calls with us. We love getting to know people. We had 12 people watching us on YouTube. I would love to meet every one of you that I have not met yet. Kelsey and Gareth, of course, I know both of you, but I'm always willing to meet with you too. So definitely book those calls with us and get to know us better. And then we are also on Spotify, so you can listen and give us a like and a rating. You can rate us on Spotify. You do have to listen to, I think it's like 3 episodes before you can do a rating. And always share the topics, share our YouTube channel. It's a free resource for you to get us to know us, for you to learn about business and entrepreneurship. Our goal is education. That was Devan, D-E-V-A-N, was saying that. He's like, case studies, articles, campaigns, things like that. Yes, that is part of Legion. This honestly is part of Legion. We're here to educate, but we also want you to get to know us. So it is part of Legion. YouTube is part of Legion. It's a social media, it's a media platform. I think that is it. Peter, you want to say the final words? And of course you have to give Nestene's line. You know it, right?
Oh, yes, I do. But before I wrap up, to those Ignite students in the background, your task is to send some of all an individual message, not on the group, definitely not on the group, an individual message with the code word, hashtag, top secret. Doesn't matter if it's in caps or lowercase, doesn't matter. So hashtag top secret is your code. So send an individual message to Somerville. You will all have contact with Somerville. You all have her number, and that will get you the points in the background. On top of that, in the message that you send your code, send one little bit of information of something that you've learned, and maybe let her know that you've shared the channel, and then earn your points. We want this channel to go out to as many people as possible. We want entrepreneurs from around the world to be stepping into the space and learning from us and from each other. And you guys are going to be part of that process, because I'm pretty sure that after the program, you might even end up in these spaces. And Mikey will know, because Mikey Guness was actually the winner of last year's Ignite program. He was a student in that space and now is functioning in this space. So the more you get involved, the better. That being said, I hope you have all heard that, and code word top secret, and a bit of information that you've learned, and then also that you've shared the channel. We want this to grow. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, it's been an absolute blast. And as our co-founder Nestene would say, may all your wildest entrepreneurial dreams come true.